Ditzy Doo met her attacker with practiced hooves, surprised at how much concentration she had to put forth to counter Ditzy's quick jabs. "Gosh, sis, you've been practicing," she acknowledged between parries, ducking away from a swift swipe at her ear.
"I was always a better fighter,"
Ditzy grunted between kicks, finally catching her sister in the hind leg just above the mustard mare's hoof. She squeaked at the pain and doubled her efforts, landing a series of painful punches on top of Ditzy's head. Her golden eyes swiveled in their sockets. Daring barked a cruel laugh. "Not always, little sister," she taunted, bumping a hoof against the space between her wonky eyes. Muffin-scented steam blew from Ditzy's reddening ears before she returned to her fierce attack.
"You ruined my life!"
she screamed, pummeling Daring with 2 hard slaps across the face.
"You ruined mine first!"
Daring yelled back, sliding out of the way of a powerful buck and knocking aside a stray hoof with her wing. Ditzy's wrath quelled a bit.
"What did you say?"
Daring took several deep breaths.
"I said that... Whew!"
She twisted in place, cracking her spine as she gasped for air.
"Oh, Luna's nipple, I'm out of shape."
Ditzy tapped her hoof against the ground as Daring recovered. She took advantage of this moment by inspecting herself for any noticeable wounds. A large dark spot was appearing at her ribcage, and the top of her head was pounding obnoxiously, but at least she hadn't drawn blood. Daring's lip was cut enough for a few red drops to pool, but both of them had seen much worse.
"Whew, gosh,"
Daring wheezed, shaking stars from her vision.
"Oh, wow. Guess sitting around all day writing stories takes a toll on a body, huh?"
She glanced at Ditzy and frowned.
"How come you're not tired?"
"I'm the local mail mare," she explained. "I fly all across this town every day, not to mention my part-time job at Hoover's Movers."
She rubbed the back of her neck.
I don't get many hours there anymore."
Daring didn't notice her sheepishness, finally getting a hold of herself with a final, collective breath through her nostrils.
"Whew. Okay. Back to fighting?"
she asked.
"No. You said that I ruined your life before you ruined mine. What in Equestria is that supposed to mean?"
A heavy silence fell over the sisters as they both stared bewilderedly into the other's eyes. Or eye, at least.
You don't remember?"
Daring whimpered.
"Remember what?"
The yellow Pegasus offset her jaw. With a determined gait, she stomped to the front door where she had dropped her luggage several minutes earlier. She reached into a side pocket of the largest suitcase with her mouth and removed a familiar tome. Then she fluttered back to Ditzy and spat the book on the ground before her.
"Can you guess what this one's about?"
she asked, hammering the cover of Poison Whispered Kiss. Ditzy tried to act innocent, but her furrowing brow betrayed her.
"How did you write it with only one mare?"
she asked.
"I added a character,"
Daring explained in a troubled tone.
"A native, like him. Some pony he knew his whole life. It made it easier to write, I guess, adding a backstory like that."
Noticing the tears in Daring's eyes, Ditzy let out a despondent sigh.
"Look, Daring, I'm sorry about that, okay? I know you loved him, and honestly, you would have been better for him. And Luna knows he shouldn't have led you on like that. But for whatever reason, he fell for me."
Daring winced.
"And there's nothing we can do to change that."
Daring snorted.
"I know, Ditzy. Believe me, I know. Besides,"
she stole a brief glance at her sister's misaligned eyes,
"I did much worse to you than you did to me."
She was surprised when Ditzy shrugged.
It really was an accident,"
she stammered.
"I'll never get that out of my head,"
Daring muttered. Cold chills ran down her neck.
"One good smack between the eyes and you were out, falling helplessly to the rocks below."
"No need to bring your prose into this,"
Ditzy deadpanned. Daring chuckled a bit.
"Why were we fighting so high up anyway? If we were closer to the ground, that fall wouldn't have been half so nasty."
Ditzy lifted her shoulders again.
"We were young, energetic Pegasi. Our tempers went up, we went up."
"I'm just glad you survived,"
Daring admitted.
"Gee, thanks,"
Ditzy grumbled. Daring's laugh grew stronger.
"No, really. I was so scared, Ditz. I don't know if I ever told you this before, but when I flew down there and I saw you'd hit your head..."
She shuddered.
It was gross, Ditz. Seriously, your skull was cracked clean open. I thought your brains were gonna leak out. I was sure you were dead.
Thanks, Daring. I'm really glad you dropped by to tell me this.
Oh, quit it. You're fine now, right? Well, more or less. She giggled as Ditzy's eyes swiveled. Good thing he was so powerful, Daring continued. And that he loved you so much. I don't even know if Celestia herself could have healed that wound as well as he did. Ditzy lifted a hoof to the back of her skull. There wasn't even a scar.
Love is a powerful magic,
she breathed. Daring hummed in sad agreement. She sighed and shifted her weight. Well, I guess that's it then. She clicked her tongue and bent down to grab the book. One of Ditzy's front hooves came down on its cover.
I think that, I'll keep this one, actually,
she said, sliding the novel beneath her.
Payback for the damage to my house.
Daring's eyes swept over the messy, hoof-pocked kitchen and front room. A smile twitched at the corner of her mouth. I guess that's a fair trade, she agreed. After a brief silence, Ditzy Doo turned around and walked towards her luggage and the door. Just as she reached it, however, some pony pushed it open from the outside. The wood smacked Daring across the face, sending her sprawling into the pile of suitcases.
I'm home, Mommy!
Ditzy Doo exclaimed as she burst through the open doorway. In the distance, 3 blank-flanked fillies waved goodbye and zoomed away on a scooter.
Daring?
Ditzy yelped, hurrying to her fallen sister's side.
Daring?
Asked Dinky, following her mother to the yellow mare.
Daring Doo?
The famous pony scampered to her hooves as if recharged by the sound of her own name. She flashed the youngster a winning smile and tousled her spiky gray mane. The one and only, she added proudly. Dinky squealed.
Mommy, look! Daring Doo's in our house! Actually, she was just leaving,
Ditzy replied, giving her sister a meaningful look.
I think she has another big adventure to brave.
Hesitantly, Daring gathered her things with her tail and wings and trotted towards the still open door. Sorry, kid, but your mom's right. I'd love to stay and chat, but I gotta go find stuff. Her grin was weak, but Dinky was too starstruck to care.
All right then, Miss Doo,
she chirped.
You better hurry fast. Nice to meet you.
She beamed at her aunt. Daring laughed softly at her innocence. I got you, kid, she said. Ditzy wrapped a foreleg over her daughter's shoulders.
Why don't you go up to your room and start getting ready for bed? I'll be up in a minute to get a bath started. Okay, Mommy.
Dinky obeyed.
Bye-bye, Miss Daring Doo,
she added before bounding up the stairs. Bye, Daring echoed, waving with a pained expression. She turned to Ditzy when the foal was out of sight. What's her name?
Dinky Doo,
Ditzy answered.
with 2 O's.
Daring laughed. Yeah, well, we can't all be action heroes, I suppose. She winked. Ditzy didn't even smile. After another click of her tongue, Daring started out the door. This is not how I expected this visit to go at all, she said over her shoulder. But I'm still glad I got to see you. Even if we did get into a little squabble.
We've had much worse,
Ditzy reminded. That we have, Daring said, nodding. She stopped in her tracks 3 or 4 pony lengths from Ditzy's front door. Twisting her head far enough to look her sister in the eye, Daring asked, She's not adopted, is she? Ditzy's stomach lurched.
Excuse me?
Dinky, she's not adopted. She's his, isn't she? Ditzy said nothing. Daring nodded. Yep, I thought so. She's the same color as his eyes. The timing works out just right. I had no idea you even got that far with him. I probably would have put that in the book. Readers love that kind of stuff.
Daring.
Of course, then I'd probably have to start calling it a teen series rather than being for everyone. My publishers are really cracking down on accurate ratings.
Daring.
Heck, maybe you forgot about it. Maybe you've told that adoption lie so many times to the folks in Ponyville you started to believe it yourself.
Leave, Daring.
Yeah, Ditz. Just one more thing before I go. I wanted to tell you that... The Doo's door slammed shut. Daring sighed again. I'm sorry.